Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Tech Niche Tips. If you have been here for this long, I want to thank you. I want to personally thank you from my household to your household for being with me on this journey, on this travel that we have, diving into people's stories because this is really special and this is really what it's all about is sharing each other's journeys, learning from each other, and growing together. And actually, I have a very unique story here. Normally, I have people that have happened to, go through a tech boot camp or whatever their journey led them to get a job in tech. This is a little bit different because this person hasn't gotten the job yet, but her presence on LinkedIn has been one that actually caught my eye. And I said, you know what? We're going to do something different today. I'm going to actually have the crowd participation in your story. And what I mean by that is I'm going to have basically you, the viewer, follow this young lady here who has decided to take a step from the medical field and land a job in tech, specifically as a sales engineer. And so we're going to talk about her journey. We're going to talk, like, boots to the brain. So we're going to talk about that journey. Boots, that's what it represents. And the brain being significant of where she is currently in regards to her mentality. And we're going to watch her journey. She's going to talk about it right here with us now, but later we're going to talk about her journey when she finally lands that job. She's going to have a part one and a part two, basically. And I'm so glad to bring to the stage here Miss Crystal. How are you, Crystal? Is everything well with you?
Yes, I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. And just to recap, I know I said it a little bit earlier, but for those that this may be your first episode with us, I always like to say where we go with these conversations are from the boots to the brain. The boots are symbolic of the journey one takes to land a job in tech, or in Crystal's case, continuing to pursue that endeavor. And the brain is symbolic of the mindset one needs to have. And in this case, in this place in her life, we're going to talk about the mindset that she has to be resilient because we have in our lives we all have obstacles that we go through. We all have the challenges that we face. And so enough about what I'm saying. I really want to kind of dive into her story. So Crystal, let's start from the very beginning because the beginning is a very, very good place to start.
Okay, I'm sure most people know about Cyrus. I was following Cyrus on Instagram, and I think he was giving out like dating advice. And just overnight, he decided he wanted to talk about this boot camp that he went through called Careerist. And he was saying how he's landed a job, and it didn't take him 4+ years to get into the field, as far as like a college degree. He did this boot camp, it was 2 months, and now he's sharing it with Black and brown people specifically to get them into tech. So it caught my eye, and I signed up. And well, let me backtrack. So I'm a nurse, and I'm sure a lot of healthcare workers can relate, but the healthcare field can be very draining sometimes. The home work life balance is not really balanced. You're going to sacrifice something. So I do love nursing. I love helping people. But I realized that if I continued on this path, that in about 5+ years, I'm going to be burnt out. So when I saw Cyrus post, I was like, okay, this looks like a good opportunity. I'm going to take it. And you can't say you want something different and you don't really. What's the verse? Without oh goodness, I lost my train of thought. Faith without work is dead. So basically, I want to put some work behind my faith. So I enrolled in the course, as far as careers in the sales engineering, and it was great. I learned a lot about sales engineering, and I knew that I could use the skills that I have and that I have learned in nursing in the sales engineering field. So now I'm here trying to get my foot in the door, like a lot of viewers and a lot of people have done. And yeah, I'm excited. I graduated last year in 2022 from the Careers Boot Camp. And I'm not going to lie, I got discouraged like halfway through because I wasn't getting the feedback that I wanted. I got a lot of rejections, and some came at 3 in the morning, waking me up. I saw a post, and it really motivated me. And it basically said you have to really give it all you have, and I had to really evaluate if I was really giving it all that I had. And you probably can tell I have a very bubbly personality. I'm always smiling. And, I was like, well, maybe I need to just show more of who I am on LinkedIn. So that's why my presence is a little more grand than what I was doing or compared to what I was doing last year. So, yeah, that basically sums it up.
No, that's good. And thank you for sharing about your experience as a nurse. I
Yeah.
like to, as I say, peel the onion back a little bit more and talk about you,
Okay.
young Crystal. Where are you
Okay.
from?
So I'm from the small town of Tallahassee, Florida. That's the state capital. So believe it or not.
Nice, nice. Now, tell me a little bit about your story in regards to growing up in Tallahassee. What made you decide to become a nurse? And you could probably talk about even your upbringing, like the different kind of values that were instilled in you at that young age.
Well, I actually wanted to be a doctor, and my dad actually recorded me. Do you remember like the VHS? And yeah, so my dad always had a camera in his hand, and he was always recording us. And he caught me saying that I wanted to be a doctor, and that's what I went to college for. I wanted to be a doctor, specifically a pediatrician, but I got burnt out. So worked some jobs here and there, and I was like, well, I still have this passion for healthcare. So I was like, well, I'm going to do nursing. And I did nursing at the peak of COVID. So that's how I got started in that. As far as my childhood, I have very good parents. I love my parents. They're like, now we're good friends. But back then, my parents didn't play. Like, I couldn't get C's in school, no TV during the weekday. You focus on school. I am a Christian, I'm a believer. So they instilled in me those morals and values, and I keep those close to me now. Like, I cannot go a day without praying and reading my words. So that's what keeps me grounded and keeps my head, straight and focused. So yeah.
That's good. That's very good. I'm glad that we were able to kind of see a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your story growing up in Tallahassee, Florida. And so I want to kind of talk a little bit about you decided to take a tech boot camp
Mm-hmm.
and you specifically decided to become a sales engineer. Let me ask you, why did you decide to pursue that degree, that pathway? And the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I want to kind of talk about it for twofold. One, being a sales engineer is great, but it's not an entry level position. You know what I mean? So the challenge is sometimes they want to see a lot of experience to get in that field. It's not impossible. We've seen people that actually have gotten into that field, of course, but it does a lot. It does make it a little bit more difficult. Can you talk to me a bit of why have you chose that direction in regards to being a sales engineer?
Yeah. So honestly, like the recruiter, she was like, well, maybe, after she looked at my resume, she was like, I think you would be better for the tech sales as opposed to the sales engineer. And I was like, well, let me, take a look. So I looked at basically what a sales engineer does. And I'm like, well, I'm basically doing that now. I just don't have the title. And I know you mentioned that post you saw. I said, this is a title change for me because I'm already connecting with people. I'm already empathizing with their pain points. I'm already, doing demos. So it shouldn't be that hard. So that's why I decided to go that route. Yeah, and I've never heard of a sales engineer before. That was like my first time, and just decided, hey, why not?
All right. Well, just as you said, just to kind of explain the difference to people that are watching who
Yeah.
may not know about these different roles in tech, when they come to being a sales engineer, it's different than any other tech sales position. In fact, it's kind of its own different category. You want
Mm-hmm.
to kind of consider, and I'm going to explain it this way. In tech sales, you have a trajectory of somebody that comes in as a sales development representative or
Mm-hmm.
business development representative. In short, we call them SDR or BDR roles. And then they transition as to someone being an account executive. Now, the difference between an SDR and an account executive, they're the SDR is the one that's doing all the what I would like to call the grunt work. They're doing the research on the company, they're scrubbing the accounts, they're calling, cold calling, cold emailing, might send a video to that person saying, "Hey, I would love to talk to you more about how our SaaS, software as a solution, can help your company." And so then what they would do is they would finally get that person on a discovery call with that company, and then they would, excuse me, transition the call over to the account executive who then follows, who basically has a demo with that person. They
Mhm.
follow up with that company, buyer persona, or that point of contact POC, and then
Mhm.
hopefully they are able to close out the deal. And then eventually, you another title, sales manager, and they manage the sales team and other things, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the sales engineer, that's all like on a totally different wavelength. So,
Yeah.
the sales engineer is basically a person that has a technical ability to explain the product to
Mhm.
to a business owner, or for example. And so, what happens? For example, like let's say that you have a phone, right?
Mhm.
Then the account executive is going to say this phone is great. The SE is going to say this is how the phone works. Da, 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 da. And so what happens is, as an SDR, when you get someone on that call, right, and they're doing the overview with you or the discovery call with you, once you are done, at least in my company where I work, you get on a phone conversation with, you get an AE, account executive, assigned to that to that demo that you're going to have, and you have an SE, or my company, a subject matter expert, that's assigned to that role as well. And so they work in tandem in that demonstration, as the AE basically is giving an overview of the product and asking them very good questions in regards to discovery, finding out
Mhm.
more of their pain points, finding out more of the areas that the business needs that solution. And then the sales engineer comes in there to answer any technical questions that they may have about, in our case, software. So I just
Mhm.
want to make sure people understand those two roles, because I don't want to assume that everybody knows the lingo
Right.
while they're watching the show. So I'm just wanted to kind of give that caveat to it. So the sales engineer position, just to kind of add a little bit more context to it, it's like having an account executive, somebody that can communicate well to the client,
Mhm.
mixed with somebody who has like a software engineer, or someone that could explain the technical areas of that product. So it's a really cool role, good high ceiling in regards to your compensation,
Mhm.
as well as a high base for your
Mhm.
compensation as well. So definitely a nice one to pick. Now, let me ask you a couple of things, because we want to get to the real and help people out here. What
Okay.
are some of the positive things that you have seen while you've been interviewing, and what's been some of the challenging things that you have experienced while you've been trying to land this role?
Oh, positive. I remember I have landed some interviews without even applying, just because of my presence on LinkedIn. I will say some cons is, they will say, since you're not a traditional candidate, you're coming from a different field, is that you don't have experience. And I try my best to just let them know that I do have the experience. I just don't have the title. And I tried to, let them know. And one company in particular, they told me, well, someone just had more experience than me. So that has been the downside, but I'm keeping hope alive. The one day I will land the role. So hey.
That's right. And that this is encouragement for everybody that's watching. I encourage you as well. Hey, keep the hope alive. I think sometimes we get discouraged. Sometimes we're on our journey and we get a couple of no's. Now, I want you to know that, you know, all it takes is one yes. I want to remind you of that. All it takes is one yes. In fact, the company that I'm working with right now, they were my one yes. I think I applied to 10 other companies before,
Nice.
'cause I kind of kept it like a small batch.
Mhm.
This is the only company that I applied to, I like to call it the course careers way, which is not really the course careers way, but a sales cadence where they teach us to apply to a company, which is basically
No.
you take that company and you
Mhm.
treat it like if they're a company that you would do as an SDR in regards to researching, outreach, and prospecting.
Mhm.
And so then we would take that same, we would try to find out who the person that was in charge of the in charge of the actual job posting, find out
Mhm.
their name, go to use different tech stacks like hunter.io, and find out, okay, what's their email address? All right, great. I have their email address. Okay, let me email them. And you apply normally, but then
Mhm.
you email at the same time saying, "Hey, I want to work for your company and this is why." And you list out all of your, you list out what the company has, you list out their title, you show them that you did research within that quote unquote email, which is actually acting as your cover letter. And then from there, and I'm trying to give some nuggets here without going too deep because I want you to. I'm an affiliate with Course Careers. I say that proudly, so I definitely want you to take the course to get the meat and potatoes of this, right?
Yes.
But then from there, you go and you actually, after you posted that, you kind of are kind of getting a timeline. So you might use an Excel spreadsheet, or if you want to be more sophisticated, you get to go to now Hunter HUNTR.co, which basically helps you to organize your job search. So that way, and I mean, this is a shameless plug for both of those websites. I didn't, it ain't pay me for nothing, but this is the tools that I use. So, but yeah, you're going to use that to kind of organize your job search. And as you're
Mhm.
going through, you're going to mark, okay, where am I going? Or who do I speak with? Things of that nature. You're going to follow up them with them on LinkedIn, giving them thank yous before and after your interview, if you can, letting them know thank you for the opportunity. And
Mhm.
so that way you're kind of doing the job, in this case for SDRs. I know you're a sales engineer, but for SDRs, you're doing the job to show that you can do the job. And so I encourage anybody here that is going in that trajectory, you definitely want to apply specifically to these companies. Do research on the companies, go to their websites. If you can, find their 10K, which is the information that allows you to see their actual financial reports. They kind of, it's public knowledge if they're a publicly traded company, and you want to be able to kind of get as much information. I found a random podcast from the CEO of my company, and I listened to it to make sure I understood the pronunciation of his name. So when I went to the interview, I could say, yeah, this person, CEO of our company, he started this at so, and so that way it was like, whoa, this guy actually did some work and research
All
and so on and so forth.
right.
So yeah, you definitely want to be able to kind of approach these companies as if you are doing the job, so that way you can get the job. And we could talk more about that offline, Crystal, if you want to. But yeah,
Yes.
so but yeah, but that is basically the overall reason why I have this channel, right? It's just share knowledge and to help. And so the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, obviously you said you kind of are still in the interview phases and you wanted to be a sales engineer. Let's
Mhm.
talk about what captivated my eye in regards to you and your profile. Like your
Okay.
LinkedIn profile, the post you had, the pitch you had, it was honestly like you were walking as a sales engineer, in my opinion. Like, oh, okay, she made it, and this is just a culmination of her journey. Can you talk a little bit about your approach to LinkedIn? Because I think a lot of people can learn from it.
Yes. So I looked at LinkedIn like I look at social media. The more that I engage, the more that I get back. So if you don't post, if you are just, yeah, not active, you're not, how do you expect to get anything back from that? So I kind of took that approach. I was like, okay, I actually deactivated my social media accounts. And I was like, yes, I'm going to use all of my energy on LinkedIn. I do have a motivational page on Instagram, but it's not a personal page, you know. So I feel like if I have a presence, and it's not an act, like I like motivating people. So, you know, that's most of my content. I love doing it. That's a passion of mine. But I figured I could use that to get in front of certain people, you know, recruiters, hiring managers, because I'm sure they need a little motivation too, right? We all need some here and there. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be more active so that I can get into the room or get my foot in the door, or, you know, it can be a conversation starter, which it has been. So that was the goal. The goal is met, but you know, consistency is what really gets you there. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that.
No, no, it's really good. And I want to take time to dive into this because there's some people that are on LinkedIn that feel like, okay, I know I have to be more active, that word that you use, but it feels like a chore. I'm not that type of person that I'm not like a bubbly personality like Crystal. Like I can't like do it. Can you give some tips and tricks to the people to say how can you be active on LinkedIn, but also how do you could change your LinkedIn around to make it as attractive as honestly your LinkedIn is?
Thank you. Yes. So I just say be yourself. If you're not the motivational speaker, okay, what is something that you like? Look at your talents, your gifts. We all have something different, unique about us. So whatever that is, use it. I know I see a lot of introverts. Have you seen that trend? Introverts are like, I'm not really a people person, but I'm here. And I'm like, that's fine. You can connect with other introverts. Use what you have to get what you want. That's my mind frame. Um, and what was the other question you asked? I'm so sorry.
No, no, yeah, you're fine. So I was asking, like, not only like how do you become active, but like what are the tips and tricks you would tell people to make, like, transform their LinkedIn around to look as honestly eye captivating as your LinkedIn was to me.
Yes, a good profile picture can take you a long way. I look at it like dating sites. Like, okay, you don't have a profile picture, you're gonna get swiped on.
That's good.
That's just how I look at it. So, a good profile picture, a good banner, a good intro, explaining who you are, what are you about. I think that's like the base. And of course, having your experience, and connecting with people. That's how you really become active. And also, shameless plug, I started a SE group. And this is something that I want to help other sales engineers with their profile, because that's really when you're asleep, somebody could be looking at their profile. And what does your profile say about you? Does it say that this person's not really active? So that may translate to, okay, you're not really active in the meetings when I don't know. I just think like that. So I'm like, okay, I want to show that I'm involved, I'm trying, and it's not a look at me, I'm begging for a job, but more so this is who I am. So is this something that you would love to have on your team or with your company? That's all. So it's advertisement.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you should also think about marketing as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like when you said it's advertisement, boom, I thought about marketing, and
Mhm.
I think that one thing about sales engineers, you become a subject matter expert in your field. And so you're sought after to do other things, whether it's product management, whether it is marketing. So it's
Mhm.
so funny how that could open so many doors for you
Yeah.
as you're pursuing being a sales engineer. So yeah, let's pull the onion back even more because they're saying like, okay, yeah, I understand it. Yeah, I gotta be consistent, but how do
Mhm.
I get that banner? How do I get that picture? Like they want to know details. So do you
Okay.
mind sharing details about how are you able to uh beautify or do like remember the like home makeovers
Yes.
move
Yes.
that bus, how are you able to move that bus on your LinkedIn page?
Right. I use Canva, and that's really it. Canva and Google if I really need it, but I take what I have. Like I already had professional pictures. I took pictures when I graduated from nursing school. So I used those pictures. I was like, okay, we're gonna use a little Canva, learn how to use these features, and boom, greatness. So if you're not tech savvy, look at YouTube. Look at how you can spruce up. That's what I call it. Spruce up your profile so that you are attractive to recruiters and hiring managers. People love color. I studied color. I was in art before. Look at what colors complement what catches people's eye, and people love. Excuse me, people love color. So that's what I've learned.
I'm going to call you the marketing sales engineer at this
Oh, good.
point.
Oh,
You're
I
talking about
love
colors and the
that.
effect it has on people. Like honestly, that's like a person that's in branding and marketing, and so you have
Yeah.
that eye, and I think a company could definitely use somebody like you because you're not going to be able to only help explain the product, but you may
Mhm.
be able to present the product in a way that's captivating to the person that you're speaking to. So there's levels to it, and this is what I want people to know. This is why I am so glad that we have interviews like this because
Yeah.
you could see that she probably thought, "Oh, art. What could I have been? How could I help me in
Yeah.
regards to landing a career?" But listen to this: she's able to use art, even the psychology of art, if I may say that as well, to influence her LinkedIn page so that she's drawing people to it. She's getting interviews without even applying to jobs. Listen to that, folks. I'm going to make a point of saying that again. She is getting interviews without even applying to jobs because of the way she's being active on LinkedIn, because
Mhm.
of the resources she's using. She's taking professional pictures that she had before, and she's using resources like Canva, which I use Canva as well for my thumbnails. She's taking Canva. She's taking other resources as well. I'm going to give you guys another little gem here. Fiverr. I don't know if you guys know about Fiverr, but Fiverr is a great way to outsource things. So if you need help with editing for videos, if you need help with various different things, you could get a good price by just going to fiverr.com. And again, shameless plug. Nobody paying me for this, but I've used Fiverr for my graphics. I use Fiverr for a whole bunch of different things. So you want to kind of use these tools for your example. We trying to help y'all, people. We trying to help y'all.
Yes.
So this is all what it's all about. So we're giving you these nuggets so that you can now do research and do your research. Yeah, do your research to find these different sort of tools that can help you to be able to expand your LinkedIn because it's so powerful. Like what you said, and I'm going to say this one more thing before we kind of shift gears to go to the brain.
Okay.
But recruiters, and I've heard this from multiple people as well, that when speaking to recruiters actually look at your LinkedIn page
Mm-hmm.
even before they look at your resume. They want
Yeah.
to know who is this person. And so if you could convey the best form, the best, how should I say this? The best, not pose, but the best, people pose and they say, this is my best side. Look at my good side, my good side. You want to have your good side revealed, best
Yes.
side revealed for these recruiters because they're looking at that. They're
Mhm.
looking at your presence. They're looking at what you're talking about. If you're being active, if you're a person that is thoughtful in what you're saying, if you're a helpful person, if you like to collaborate, all these little things they look at. But if they don't see anything, they're like, okay, this person probably doesn't even exist, or this might be a bot, like this bot trying to add me. What's going on here? So you definitely want to be active in the best way. And the tips that Crystal provided are great tips in order for you to do that. So I'm gonna put, if she's cool with that, putting your LinkedIn on the page on the channel right now, because you're
Yes.
gonna have a lot of people. You might have to start a coaching marketing business for people trying to break into tech because people go reach out to you like, help me with my LinkedIn page.
I
But
can't stand for it. I'm trying to get a team together to help me because I want to help people. So hey,
yeah, so we're gonna talk about that afterwards. I'm gonna give you some little some game about that.
all
So but
right.
but right now, as we're shifting gears here, we're gonna start wrapping things up. I want to talk about the mindset because it is hard. I speak to
Mhm.
people so many times. There's so many people that reach out to me that say, "Hey, I just applied to this company. Wish me luck." And I'm like, "I wish I took. First of all, I wish I spoke to you first to make
Yeah.
sure you're doing the right. You're doing something that could possibly help you. But
Hmm.
secondly, they come back and they're like, it just, I didn't get a chance to make it. I don't want them to be discouraged. You're
Mm,
not, and one thing I love about you and seeing where you are right now is that you're not discouraged. I mean, yeah, you have moments, of course, we all
yeah.
do, but you have an energy about you, you have a positivity about you, you're focused. Can you
Mhm.
talk about the mindset that one needs to have to be where you are right now?
Yeah. So I feel like everything starts in the mind. Like if you think negative, you're going to get negative results. If you think positive, you're going to get positive results. So I'm going to give you an example. When I was in nursing school, I wrote down on a sticky note or several, I am a nurse. And I put that in my car, on a mirror, wherever I would can see it.
Mhm.
And that just trained my mind to say, I am a nurse. So if you want a particular job, you need to go ahead and train yourself. A lot of people will come in my DMs and they'll ask me questions about being a sales engineer. And the first thing I tell them is stop saying that you're an aspiring sales engineer. No one's going to hire an aspiring sales engineer. You're either a sales engineer or you're not. So it's all about the mindset. Imposter syndrome is real. I get it. I've dealt with it before. But again, you have to train your mind that I am whatever you want to be. Also, being disciplined. That has a lot to do with your mindset. If you're lazy, you may not reach your goals. You may not. I don't know. But I think that plays a part in it. Being consistent, disciplined, and having a positive mindset. So again, if you think negative, probably not going to get the job. I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm not good enough or bad things always happen to me.
Mm.
Well, I mean, I'm a firm believer in what you say will come to pass. I'm not big on manifesting, but I do believe that your words have power. I tell my
Mhm.
kids, I have two little kids, and I tell them that your words have superpowers. So if you say I'm this, I'm that, and it's not positive, then that's what it's going to be. So control what's in your mind and what comes out of your mouth. That's that's how I look at it.
Come on, control what's in your mind and what comes out of your mouth. Out of the heart of man, tongue
Heart
speaks.
speaks. Yes.
And so these are some great nuggets that you can take with you. You can put it in your pocket. She gave it to you for free. This is some great information, and I would even encourage you. And hopefully I'm not overstepping when I say this, but I would encourage you to reach out to Crystal on LinkedIn and
Yes.
have her do a scrub of, and I do this for some people that I used to be coaching. I'm going to be coaching soon again, but I'm not really doing it as much right now. But
Okay.
because my schedule is, I have 6 kids. My wife and I have 6 kids, and so my schedule
Oh.
is tight. Tight. Emphasis on tight.
Oh,
So I don't
goodness.
have as much space for coaching right now, but I encourage you to reach out to Crystal, especially for
Yeah.
coaching in regards to your LinkedIn page and making it marketable. I can't tell her prices because today's price is not yesterday's price. So I don't know what she's gonna be charging y'all, but all I know is just reach out to her on LinkedIn, and I'm sure she's glad to help you out. And with that being said, I think we had a great conversation here, Crystal. I think a lot of people can
Yes.
learn things from this, and I'm so glad that you're able to stop by. So, like
Yeah.
I always say, I'm sorry, Crystal, were you gonna say something?
No, I'm just cheering. That's all.
Yay! I know. Well, with that being said, until next time, like always, I hope to see you on the other side. Take care, man.